Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald, joined as always by my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, what's going on today?
Not a lot is actually going on. I was talking to a friend of yours today, Sarah Clark, and she talks very highly of Big Jim Mack, that she met you in Charlotte.
Yeah, in North Carolina. She invited me to come speak to some podiatrists and assistants at the North Carolina State meeting. So yeah, Sarah's a great gal.
Yeah, so I'm good, Big Jim. How you been doing?
I'm good. I just it's been a lot of sugar invading my house. I've been getting the kids with Halloween not too long ago. We still have a lot of candy from them, but also I received
Oh, the
two us
package.
two a package with two Australian treats for those people that aren't on the on the audio podcast. I have a box of Tim Tams and
Family
12
size box.
Cadbury
Cadbury.
Cadbury caramel
Cadbury.
wallabies. So
Yeah, Caramello Wallabies. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
Tim Tams, I sent you the family pack.
yeah, there's 20 biscuits in there, as they have to
Yeah.
call it in the
And I
English and
will,
Australian world. So this is
and I will
this is
let
the
you
Tim
know
Tam.
that the postage from Tempe to Oregon was about 4 times more than what the products were worth. Postage was ridiculous, but I did send it UPS to make sure it got there in one piece.
It did, and so I'll take a quick bite of this Tim Tam and see what I think.
Yeah, see what you
taste
think.
test.
Give it a shot. Oh, sound effects. Oh, they're good. The second bite's even better than the first bite.
It's good stuff. Kind of tastes like if an Oreo was like wrapped in chocolate, kind of.
Oh, they're fantastic. I reckon they're the best Australian biscuit. Every time I go to the States, I always take them with me. The other part, if you want to test it out, because you've got 20 of them that you can run around with, bite the end off of the Tim Tam, off of each end, nip off each end, get your hot coffee, and then suck the coffee through the Tim Tam. and the chocolate melts as it goes through. The whole thing just dissolves in your mouth.
There we go.
It's disgusting, but tastes great.
I'm not sure if this was a wallaby shape, but it's okay. Like I'm sure.
As it melted.
Yes,
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
It's in Arizona, right? So
yeah, true. Probably set out in the sun. Cadbury, I think, is one of the best chocolates.
Yeah, it's tasty. So thank you so much for the tasty treats. I'm sure the kids will enjoy a little bit more sugar. So.
Yeah, let them have one Tim Tam and then tell them they'll never get another one. Yeah, there's only 20 in the box.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, and you sent me, while I was there, when I arrived at the hotel, I have my Podiatry Marketing stickers.
There you go.
So if anyone bumps into me anywhere and they go, "Oi, give us a sticker," I'll have the stickers on me.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we should get into today's topic.
Enough of the
Tim Tam biscuits.
Exactly. The candy reviews are over.
Well, sometimes there's a lot of things you can learn. Like I said, yeah, I was over in the States and I learned a lot while I was actually over there. Not that I'm going to discuss that today, but maybe in future episodes. Today, I'm going to talk about infographics. And if anyone who doesn't know what an infographic is, I went and dug out the easiest definition to make it make sense. Infographics are visual representations of data, all concepts designed to convey complex ideas quickly and clearly, making the information easy to digest.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of them in different places and I hadn't done one for a while. And then the topic infographics popped back up again. And I went, why haven't I been doing them? So just tested out. I did a couple of normal posts and then I threw in an infographic in between into the Podiatry Business Owners Club on Facebook. And as soon as I did that, the engagement with that infographic was like 5 or 6 times more than anything else that I normally post. So straight away, people could read through the 5 points that I'd written down there, could easily follow it and just went, yes. So straight away I just went, okay, I need to do more infographics. I think it's important to do it. So have you used it much?
I mean, I try to use them a lot, especially when I'm trying to, teach concepts about different marketing topics and techniques. I think it's, if you just talk at a person or you just give them just a bunch of text, it's something they can make people's eyes glaze over. Me myself, I'm kind of more of a visual learner, so if I can
Yeah.
see some or see relationships between different, things, in something like an infographic, it's definitely something that can be helpful. I think, one area that I use it a lot for is when I'm talking to people about Google search ads is that, there's kind of like a triangle or kind of a triumvirate of like three things that have to be in order. You have to like, people are searching for a specific thing. So the search terms you advertise on have to be related to that. And then when they click on those ads, it has to send them to a landing page, which is relevant. And those three things all have to kind of be in concert. And I'll show like a triangle or a pyramid and
Yeah.
arrows pointing. And it just makes more sense when you show it that way as opposed to trying to explain it sometimes. I mean, it's not a super, complex topic, but when you think about it that way, you can kind of see the interconnectedness of those topics together, as opposed to just, like a sentence where it's a little tougher to decipher maybe.
Yeah, because they say that they're a very powerful marketing tool for that reason. They're very visual. So people can follow through a pattern of 5 things, 7 things, 3 things, whether it's a list, whether it's a triangle. And so they sort of class it as like visual eye candy, which I actually like that term. So you can take that concept and you can use data, timelines, you can use them for training, or just what I did with mine in the Podiatry Business Owners Club was just a structured idea or a point of view. And I said, 5 things that went through. And even when the one that I actually posted, I had created a while ago. I thought, oh, I'm not going to create a new one. I'm just going to take this an old one and just repost it. Nobody said, oh, excuse me, Tyson, but you've posted that before. So sometimes, even with the infographics, you post something that works, don't throw it away, put it aside. 6 months later, you could probably use it again.
Absolutely. Like it's like we talked about in the past, sometimes we kind of, we're a little self-conscious about putting out the similar stuff, but like if, not
Mm.
everybody's looking at all our channels every single day. So by, putting it out every 3 to 6 months, it's something that's new to different people because maybe they missed it the first time through.
Yeah, there's a whole episode there about repurposing our content. But the other thing too with infographics is people love to share them if they're good. So if they're quite informative, 5 ways to do this, 6 things to do here. If they're informative, if they're educational, people are going to click that share button and send it off to other places. Even though in the Podiatry Business Owners Club, you can't share from there because I've got it set up that way. But if you're posting it in other places, like on your podiatry Facebook page or even on your website, if people like it, they'll copy it. That's why you need to make sure you got your logo and everything on there. So when they do copy it, your business name goes along with it.
That makes total sense to get more visibility for who you are and what you provide. I think also what's really important is that, by using these kind of visualizations and infographics, it can make for a lot more interesting presentations, like
Yeah.
whether you're giving a talk to students or to other podiatrists or to maybe primary care physicians, the more you can kind of like mix in, some visualizations into your presentations, I think it's much more palatable for people. I know that having given quite a few talks over the last, couple of years at different podiatry conferences, I really try to think, what's going to like keep me engaged if it's the last talk of the day, the third day of the conference, they gave me that spot. What are some, ways to inject some humor, but some learning at the same time? And usually you can really do that a lot better. You see a lot of these, sometimes, people are pretty good in podiatry. Obviously there's surgical pictures or wound care pictures. You can add things like that, but if you can add in, original visualizations, it can really engage people and help them understand it in ways that if you just put up, paragraphs or just text only
Oh,
bullet points,
yeah.
that just kind of like they don't really sink in. It just kind of, people's eyes glaze over a bit.
Death by PowerPoint. Just,
Absolutely.
oh, nothing worse. Nothing worse than going to a conference and they go, oh, and our next speaker is Professor such and such, and he's just done his PhD in this, and he gets up there and just bang, slide goes up, and he's just reading it. Slide goes up, and he's just reading it. And you go, oh my God, someone just hit me on the head. That's where you see people reaching under their chair and pulling out a bottle of bourbon and you start doing shots while they're running through their slides. Anyway, the back to infographics is they're cheap to produce. So the ones that I've produced so far, I've done them all on Canva. I have the paid version of Canva, so I'm sure on the El Cheapo free version, there's probably templates there as well, just not as many. So with the paid version, I mean, there's hundreds of templates that you can actually choose from. And there's another site that I came across called Visme, VISME.co, and you can do them through there as well. So do you have any that you're aware of? Canva seems to be the easiest.
Yeah, those are some great templates just kind of get ideas started. I think I use the Mac Keynote a lot to make, I take some maybe images from my library or mix around
Yeah.
in Photoshop and stuff to crop out things or to like make things smooth. But yeah, like that, those two are definitely good spots for people that are just trying to get some either inspiration or just want to do some simple infographics and not take up a lot of time. But yeah, there can be some good ways to utilize other types of photo editing or just bringing your own photos into things as well. But yeah, like there's different shapes and tools within Keynote that make it kind of easy. So you
Yeah.
just drag an arrow, you drag some stuff in there, so you can kind of connect text or put some images next to it or some icons and things. But yeah, those are two good resources you pointed out.
Yeah. And it's sort of, there's things that you could sort of like, I look at infographics and I look at visual models and I look at mind maps as all being completely different. Because to me, the infographic is more just providing that information in a step-by-step point form or number form or wherever it is. Whereas a visual model can be something, it's like a lot bigger. So I use Keynote a lot when I'm putting together a visual model
Sure.
because you've got a bigger space and there's so many things you can actually pull around with it. But I do, like you said, I learn visually as well. So if people want to know how to make an infographic, I've got a couple of pointers here that you can run through. First thing, number one, outline your infographic goals. What's your purpose of doing the infographic? Why, why are you putting it together? So it might be, is it related to stretching for a particular problem? These are the 5 things you can do if you have problem X. So first of all, outline what the goal is, because if you don't know the purpose of doing the infographic, then it'll just be a shambles.
Yeah.
Second thing is gather and organize your data or information. So whatever it is you're going to talk about, whether it's the 5 best stretches for this particular problem, is go through and put them in order. And what order should they be done in? Or if you're going to talk about could be diabetes, for example, and you're going to give 5 facts, is put them in order. What information are you going to actually put across? And then the third part is transform your data into visuals. So even if you've got some text there, which I put in mine, you want to have a visual image that goes with it. And this is where the templates are handy because it'll have crappy images in there that you can just replace
Sure.
really easy. So you haven't got to think about, where should I put this image? It's already there for you. But I always think it's try and find an image that relates to the text. So if people are skimming through it, I don't know, I think it just registers a little bit faster.
No, absolutely. I think when you have that visualization next to it, or the image next to it, it makes the text next to it a little bit more engaging because you're curious about what is that image, and if you have an explanation there, and sometimes you can, depending on the type of font you're using, or the boldness of the font, or the color of the font, you can really kind of attract. Making it a little bit different might make it a little bit more engaging than just black text and it's all the
Mm.
same font or same size, but by adjusting the boldness, the type of font, the size of the font, there's ways to really kind of make it more engaging.
Yeah, and using your brand colors. And I think this is where having a paid version like of Canva is, and even with Keynote, you can actually introduce your brand colors. So if your clinic has a particular color that makes it stand out to say, this is my clinic, you want to make sure that's in your infographic. So any of the infographics I do, people will notice it's got this, I just call it Barcelona red, but that's not what it is. It's 9222B37 or something like that. And the color code, I have it written in the front of my brain book here. It is AC2B37. And my gray is 55565B. I write that in the front of my book because I never remember it. And that way I always get the color right. Anyway, point number 4 is add your layout. Oh, point number 4 is design your layout using an infographic template. That's pretty much one of the easiest ways.
Sure.
And like I said, with Canva, hundreds of them there. You don't have to think. All you do is gather the information, then use that template. The 5th part is add style for a unique look. So this is where you use your brand, use your colors, use your fonts, make sure your logo is on there. So, and try and put it in a place too that if people are going to rip it off, yeah, hopefully your logo or your name is incorporated in there, so it's sort of carried through with it. And most people too, like if they're just going to steal your infographic, they'll use your logo as well. They usually will give credit to where it came from.
Yeah.
The sixth point is review your infographic design. So have a look at it. If it appeals to you, you might get somebody else to have a look at it, get their opinion, and you'd be surprised. Yeah, it's always what's it saying? In the eye of the beholder.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, yeah. So you might look at your own infographic and go, "That's good." But just get somebody else to have a look at it and just go. They might go, maybe you should change this, maybe you should change that, and just take that on board because if you're putting it there, you're not the target market for the infographic. So probably good to get a bit more feedback. And the seventh thing is to publish it when you've done it. Make sure you publish it, get it out there, and promote your infographic. Push it out to different channels and platforms, your website, different social media platforms, so that people actually see it and therefore they'll want to share it.
I think that's great. Like you talked about previously, like, every 3 to 6 months, if you're kind of coming back to similar topics or, you see how you do that first time, but there can be a great opportunity to kind of repurpose this in the future.
Yeah, well, the two that, or the one that I've done recently, and then, well, the two main ones I'm doing. The first one that I posted in the Facebook was bottom feeding versus aiming for top paying patients. That was what the title was. And then I've got it actually loaded up here to actually look at it. And so pretty much I'm just going to run through what the 5 things that I actually had written in here. And I've put, high fees are paid by patients who are doing well, not those who are struggling. That sort of makes sense. So in the picture, it has like the road to success. That was the first thing that was there, which sort of visually tends to make sense. The second point was high-end patients tend to be believers. Low-end patients tend to be skeptics. And I've got a person with their arms in the air like that, like, I believe. So visually, I think that makes sense. The third thing I had written down, so I didn't have numbers. I just had images that went with it.
Sure.
Paying higher fees means that your patients pay you higher respect and pay your advice more attention. And then the visual was 2 fist punch. Always works. That's what I did on Halloween. And the fourth thing is there's no profit in a business model that challenges other poverty-minded mindset podiatrists in a race to the bottom. So then there's just like a dartboard type thing there. And the last one they put was high-end patients expect great work. It's energizing and fun for you and your team to rise to that actual challenge. And I can't see what the image is here. What have I got there? It is, I'm not sure why I put that one there. Well, it was a bit of an odd image, but it seemed to work. But just doing that infographic with those words and those images there got so much engagement with everybody.
That's awesome.
And a lot of people say, patients pay, they pay attention. and look at this way. If you don't have anything original, you don't have any proprietary data to use in your infographic, there's places you can just go online and just Google information in certain areas. Just take some of the information. I think 5 is a good number. I think 3 or 5 points in an infographic works really well. I think if you get too many, it starts to get a little bit more complicated. You want them to be able to see it, go through it quickly, get the information, be able to do something with it, like it enough to want to actually share it. That's the idea behind it.
No, absolutely. I think you're right. Like beyond 5, people just start to be like, they're busy, they're doing other stuff. They don't have time to read, 10 things and try to digest all of it. Somewhere in that 3 to 5 range is easy to read pretty quickly. And then also maybe digest it and maybe put some of that stuff into action if that's what it requires.
Yeah, I know. Even when you get a newsletter or something sent to you, and some people's newsletters are quite brief. You can just skim through it and you go, oh, that was interesting. I might read that a bit more. Then you get other ones where you're scrolling through and you just go,
Well,
You
then there's
can't.
some of the ones that, like, you get all the way to the bottom and, like, maybe you wanted to see what the bottom was like, but it's like, you have to click on that link to, like, then go to the web to read the rest of it because they, like,
Uh,
maxed out the amount of space they had in the newsletter or something. So, like,
well, I think
yeah,
America does it more than over here. Like in Australia, when they're promoting, like, say, an event or a conference, they'll promote it and you might you'll scroll down a little bit to get all the information.
right.
But some of the American ones, you'll scroll down and you scroll and you keep going. But wait, there's more. And you scroll through. And here, listen to what this person said. And here's another testimony. You keep scrolling and book here. And it just never ends.
Yeah.
And anyway, don't know how we got onto that. But they're very visual as well. So that was all I wanted to cover on this. I just encourage people, if you have a Canva account at the moment, go there, have a look at the infographics, have a look at some of the examples, because some of the examples, they've already got information there. Look at them and go, wow, how could I use this with my podiatry business to educate and inform my patients, and just start using them. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll have a bit of fun with it as well.
That sounds like great advice. I definitely agree that, for people that are visual learners out there, it's a great way to connect with them. And like you said previously as well, very shareable. There's a lot of people that like to learn this way. So, why not spend a little extra time, explaining some important concepts about your business or your clinic in a way that will, kind of be engaged, create more engagement with potential patients and other people in your network.
Okay, that's it for me, Jim.
All right.
Sounds funny just calling you Jim. That's it for me, Big Jim. And I'll talk to you again next week. See ya.
Sounds good. Bye now.
Okay, bye.